Hello, I'm the Bunnyman.
And I'm Crazy Susie.
And we are in the Eyes of Terror. And it's the holiday season.
It is.
And like our custom tradition around this time of year, we come with all the episodes at the end of the year. So, because we're really busy at this time of year with work and other things. So, again, we apologize for being a little late on our upload schedule. Time just got away from us.
Well, you work and do other things, and I always try to do things for others this time of year by ringing for the Salvation Army. So
you don't get home till like 7, 8 o'clock at night, and you're tired, and I understand that. So, I'm not feeling very festive this year, I'll be honest. So, got a lot of personal things going on.
Yeah, but we're still trying to trudge along.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Like I said in our Terror Talk, I like the spirit. I don't care for a lot of the other little nitpicky things. But, to get me in the mood a little bit more, we do Christmas horror movies. And there's a lot of those.
Yep. Sure is.
So, that makes me happy. Because I really can't stand normal movies anymore, I think. We talked about this where we've sat down and we wonder when people are going to get killed and realize that we're actually watching normie movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's get into what are we drinking. I am drinking an Old Fezziwig Ale, which is brewed by Samuel Adams. It's a spicy and bold ale brewed with cinnamon, orange, and ginger. So it is 12 fluid ounces, 5.9 alcohol by volume, and 25 IBUs. I don't know what the IBUs is, but...
I actually had a glass of white... What did I say it was?
White muscadine.
White muscadine wine earlier, because I haven't taken my pain medication today. So I could be a little bit naughty, and right now I can't have anything to drink because I'm feeling kind of weird from drinking that earlier, so...
It's actually not bad. I think this might be one of the Samuel Adamses I like. I have yet to see this in a 6-pack anywhere.
Yeah, you can only buy it in the pack with everything.
I got the holiday pack.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's probably why. And I am quite impressed with this. And I've actually been really looking forward to several of these. And one of them was this one. So I figured I was going to start at the holiday podcasting with this Old Fezziwig. And I also like, A Christmas Story. So, and, Old Fezziwig was the guy who had the parties in the Scrooge, when Scrooge was younger. So that's the lineage there. But I quite like it. So I suggest if you could find an Old Fezziwig, get it out. It's a nice hearty ale. You can tell the spice, and it's bold, but it's not overly one thing. Mm-hmm. It has a nice mixture of flavors, and it's not like overly cinnamon. It's not overly ginger or orange. So that's always good. So our first movie is Better Watch Out, 2017, 16, 17.
I have 16.
I have 17.
Don't know what to show you. This is a part of our Ho 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 series. This is a rated R film. IMDb gives it a 6.5 out of 10, which is pretty doggone high. And it's 1 hour and 29 minutes long. It's listed as a comedy, crime, horror. Interesting. We found this one on our Prime Shudder series.
Well, actually, it's a Shudder original.
A Shudder original, okay.
So, if you don't know what Shudder is, it's a monthly horror movie subscription.
Yeah, you can get it just by itself, or you can actually get it through Prime.
Or Roku, or whatever system.
It's available through Prime, or you can get it just solely Shudder. You can do it either way, but we have it through Prime. Anyway. So, the director of this film is Chris Peckover. The writers are Zach Kahn and Chris Peckover. The cast is Olivia DeJonge, I think. She plays Ashley. Levi Miller plays Luke. Ed Oxenbould plays Garrett.
Alexi plays
Alex Mikic plays Ricky. Anyway. Dickory Montgomery plays Jeremy. Patrick Warburton plays Robert Lerner. Virginia Madsen plays Deidre Lerner.
Yeah.
Deandra is her name, sorry. Some of these more unusual names are a little bit more complicated to pronounce, and I hate pronouncing them incorrectly, but it happens sometimes. Alexandra Madusco plays the scary movie girl. Okay. Georgia Holland plays the scary movie girl also, and the rest of those can be found on imdb.com. The storyline of the film is on a quiet suburban street, a babysitter must defend a 12-year-old boy from intruders, only to discover it's far from a normal home invasion. I thought this movie would be quite silly before we watched it, based on the story synopsis. But once we watched it, I was like, oh yeah, we're doing this one.
You sort of presented it as a adult Home Alone to me.
A more grown-up Home Alone is what it kind of made me think of.
I guess not an adult Home Alone. You know, because once you tack on the word adult, it could go one of two ways. And
right, it's more of a grown-up, like a teenage version of Home Alone.
Yeah.
And they even kind of mention that in the film, you know.
But it's not an adult home.
No. It is a rated R film. There are adult innuendos in the film. There are naughty words in the film, which we're not going to say because we try to keep it pretty clean. But it definitely is a film that you would want to watch before you allowed your small children or teenage children to watch, because there are some graphic scenes in the film.
There are, but there aren't at the same. I mean, it's not overly bloody or gory.
But there are scenes in the film where the boys kind of push themselves on the girl. So there are definite scenes in the film that you would want to watch before you allowed your child to watch it. That way you could discuss those things with them, because there are some scenes in the film that are not appropriate in one form or fashion. Mm-hmm. Anyway, that's for you to decide for your own family, but you need to be aware of that. You probably would want to view it before you allowed younger children to view the film. Mm-hmm. Make the decision yourself. Anyway.
So, we open on a Christmas wonderland with snowmen and sleds and like an urban paradise of snow.
It's a suburban neighborhood.
Yeah.
That's covered in snow, and everybody's got their yard decorated.
Yeah. Why are you giving the stink eye?
Because you act like it's Santa's Village. Is the
no. I was just trying to. No, I was just
getting all wordy.
I was trying to get all fancy. And so we are focused on this snowman that this girl is building, and all of a sudden a boy smashes the head of the snowman with a baseball bat.
I'm not sure why you mentioned that, because it's not relevant.
It's not, but it was just like that. That was the opening scene.
I didn't mention it wasn't relevant.
It doesn't matter. I mentioned it.
I said the movie begins with kids in a suburban neighborhood playing outside in the snow.
Okay. I made it a little bit fancier. I mentioned something that you deemed irrelevant. I just thought
that was the only scene that those two children were in the whole film.
I don't care if the children were in it or not. I was just saying that it weirdly, oddly sets the tone of the movie with it looks innocent, but it's not.
Okay. But those two children are not.
It has nothing to do with the children. It has more of the action that is betrayed.
Okay.
But the concept of having children there would be the concept of innocence, especially with a smaller child and more of a pubescent boy.
They seemed about the same age to me.
A couple of years different.
Okay. That really doesn't prove any kind of point, but go on.
Well, if you're just going to deflate my bubble, everything I say anymore. So, then we are in a car riding along with a girl talking on the phone. She doesn't have a headset on, obviously, so we're connected to anything, and
we found out her name is Ashley.
We find out her name is Ashley, and her occupation is babysitting for the learner's son tonight. And we find the learner's boy is a fairly early teenage boy.
Yeah.
I mean, 12. And I just find that, I guess I find that a little weird.
Some parents are a little bit more overprotective than others.
I guess. So, and she gets there, they have an interaction, and I guess they're going to some party that the mother is not really fond of. And the dad's just like, whatever. And I guess the dad is more of the goofy type than the mother is. And so that's that interaction. But let's move on to what you have to say.
Luna has something to say.
Yeah. So the babysitter arrives, and the parents go through the new nightly routine for Luke. We find out that he's been sleepwalking and has other issues.
She just mentions the sleepwalking.
Yeah, but I mean, basically it's the same routine that they do, except for the new pencil on the door to prove he's sleepwalking or not.
To prove if he gets up.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she said he's sleepwalking again.
So that's what I'm saying. There's a series of other stuff that we're not privy to.
Well, you missed the whole scene with Luke talking to his childhood friend Garrett in his room about they should get high from the weed that his brother gave him instead of trying to make out with his babysitter.
Yeah, but I mean, there's this whole, and teenage boys do this. It's just, they're just so full of hormones and stuff, and they just want to, he's just at that age to bone everything, and his babysitter is there, and he wants to get with his babysitter. That's sort of his whole goal of the night, is to get with the babysitter. Right.
So you went over the pencil on the doorknob situation, and once she thoroughly goes over that, basically, they hide the pencil underneath the rug outside his bedroom door. That way he supposedly doesn't know about it.
Which also irritates me, because it's like, once if you step on the pencil, you break the pencil. Pencils are not known to be the most sturdiest of items.
Right. And then you balance it on the doorknob with the eraser up against the door sham.
Is that what the thing is called?
Yeah. So when he opens the door, if he's sleepwalking, the pencil falls to the floor, and then he's up. Okay.
Again, but I mean, the ones where the pencil naturally falls down. I mean,
you balance it, I guess, to where.
It just seems like there should be a better way of doing things. Like,
I don't know.
I don't know.
But she explains it that way, and then they leave. She gives them money to order pizza, and Garrett leaves, and the parents leave. Mm-hmm. So Luke asked Ashley what she wants to do. She says that she's going to make a phone call for him to go play a video game or something. And she calls her boyfriend and explains that she's going to say goodbye to him tomorrow.
Yeah, because we find out that she's moving to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, she's moving out of town. And, the learners had told her that they really did appreciate for her to come and do this for them, because they know that she probably should be spending this time packing because she's moving out of town. So Luke wants her attention, so he opens a bottle of champagne.
Champagne,
and starts chugging it. He says once he and Garrett drank a whole bottle and Garrett puked. He can't hold his liquor like I can.
And of course, this is somehow supposed to impress people. That's how you get older ladies, by how much liquor you can hold.
She takes the bottle from him, takes it into the kitchen, proceeds to pour it out, and thinks that's really stupid because it's expensive champagne. She gets freaked out because she sees a spider. She hollers for Luke. He comes in. He takes the spider outside. Comes back in. They go back in and start watching a movie. For some reason, I can't remember why, she goes back in the kitchen. She sees that the door is open in the kitchen. She goes to shut it, thinking that he forgot to shut it when he let the spider out.
It's not any movie. It's a horror intruder movie.
So she goes back into the living room and she's like, well, I forgot to order the pizza. She sits down. They talk about the pizza.
And he has some aversion to mushrooms.
He starts the movie. They drink some more. Then the doorbell rings.
And your normal creepy pizza man comes with a pizza.
It's the pizza man. And she's like, did you order a pizza? No, it must have been my dad. So they take the pizza. They pay the pizza man. They go to sit down. Well, the pizza has mushrooms on it. He doesn't like mushrooms. Why would his dad have ordered a pizza with mushrooms on it?
Yeah.
Nana doesn't like mushrooms either.
Because she can't have any.
So they eat the pizza.
And he's sort of like...
The weird thing is, she gets the pizza. She goes to shut the door. She turns around from the door, and the plastic Santa from outside, the lawn ornament Santa, is right there beside her inside the house. She didn't think nothing of it. She just picked it up, put it outside on the porch, and shut the door.
Like, whatever. Normal Christmas Santa. Plastic Santa's moving indoors when it's cold and out.
Like, oh, poor little guy. He must have got chilled and came inside. Oh, go back outside now.
He just wanted a piece of pizza.
Ridiculous.
Ho, ho, ho.
So she puts him back outside and shuts the door and locks it. They eat their pizza. He makes a pass at her, which she rejects.
He's been trying to make passes at her this entire...
No, it's an obvious one
yeah.
now. Her boyfriend calls. She ignores the first one. The second time, she talks to him, but only for a minute. You see a shadow in the window behind them during the movie. He tries to kiss her, and she says, no, it's not appropriate.
I mean, he gets like right on top of her and tries to, torpedo that tongue into her mouth. And
they get a phone call on the house phone. It's a weird phone call. This is the second time this has happened. Nobody on the other line. This time, the Santa figure shows up in the window of the backyard.
He just wants to take a pee.
He's staring in at you. He needs to know if you're naughty or nice. Yeah. Have you been a good little girl? Anyway, so she asks Luke to give her cell phone to her. He tosses it to her. It ends up in the fish tank. They hear a knock at the front door. They look out the peephole. Nobody's there. They decide it's smart to open it.
Yeah, what is up with people? Okay, so if nobody's out on the side of the peephole, but weird things is going on, I'm just going to open the door.
They open the door. Garrett runs inside and jumps on top of Luke. At this point, Ashley's pretty annoyed and was like, was it you in the backyard doing all that? And he's like, what do you mean? I just got here. I wasn't in the backyard. So they hear a noise upstairs. Ashley grabs a knife from the kitchen and goes upstairs. The boys follow her because they're scared. Garrett's phone doesn't work in the house.
Which always works in the house.
Right, it always worked before. They go to Luke's room to get his computer, and the Wi-Fi isn't working.
Well, it's not even registering. The name of the network is not even registering.
Right. And so Ashley decides to go downstairs and trigger the security system to alert the cops.
But it's a safe neighborhood. They don't need a security system.
But they don't have a security system. It's a safe neighborhood. Garrett finds the brick that went through the front window and brings it to them and shows them what's written on the other side. It said, the brick simply had written on it, you leave, you die. So Garrett decides he's going to leave the house to get help. And so he gets shot.
He gets crossbowed.
So she looks outside at her car thinking she can make a run for it and get in her car. But there appears to be a knife in her tire.
Yeah, so that's a no-go. I mean, technically you still could go on your rim. It's going to damage the rim. But it's either that or die.
Well, you're not going to get very far. So she tells him to go to his parents' room and get their gun and hide and shoot them when you see them. Well, they didn't get that far. They see an intruder coming, so they go upstairs and go into the attic.
Which, ironically, they were saying, why would you, as you were watching the movie, don't go into the attic, that's the last place you want to go. You're just cornering yourself. Mm-hmm. So they're playing all into the horror cliches at this point.
Right. Ashley freaks out and almost falls out of the attic door.
Because it's one of those,
the ladder ones with type, falling attic doors. But Luke grabs her hand and pulls her back to safety. She has arachnophobia. He gets the gun from his parents' room, and they hide in his closet. The intruder comes in the room, and she realizes the mask he's wearing looks very familiar. And she jumps out of the closet.
Well, it's not just that, it's the combination of the mask look familiar and Garrett, who this entire time has been having an itching issue on his shoulder, and the intruder itched that shoulder. Mm-hmm. So, and the mask looked familiar because it was like a ski mask, but it had a blue dart through it. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, okay, so this sort of irritated me. Is like, up to this point, you had the intruder, but you didn't think to go down to your local Target, Kmart. Well, Kmart doesn't exist. Sears, Ghetto Shell, whatever, and get a new ski mask. Amazon. That wasn't so obvious.
Clearly, all of his plan was not thought through.
Obviously. Unless that was the plan.
I don't think so.
No. Okay.
She realizes it's Garrett. He's wearing Luke's mask. Ashley says she's going to call his parents, and they're going to be very angry. He's going to get in a lot of trouble. She goes to the top of the stairs, proceeds to go down them. She doesn't even get to the first step. He screams her name. She turns around.
And he just
smacks her so hard. She flings around and falls down the stairs.
And basically passes out.
Yeah, it knocks her out.
Yeah.
So he ties her up. And he gives Garrett an oxy and toys with them both.
Mm-hmm. Because like Garrett, he's on a scooter going around. He's like, I'm going so fast.
Mm-hmm. He trips him. He falls on
Yeah.
the couch and he's like, I'm laying on marshmallows.
And then they started talking about sexual things with the Adventure Time crew. It was like Princess Bubblegum and
Yeah.
yeah,
Do you know what happened next?
stuff,
What kind of stuff?
horror related stuff. Okay, so Ashley finds out that Luke is a bloody nutter, and Luke starts playing a game with Garrett and Ashley. They plays a game of Truth or Dare,
Yep.
and he starts out with how many guys she has slept with. So right off the bat, we go with a very personal question.
Yeah.
I mean, just right down to the nitty gritty. To go find out, she is still a virgin.
He didn't believe her.
Of course, he didn't. And then
Not that it's any of his business,
No.
but
Garrett dares Luke to touch Ashley's breast, and
he says tit because they're 12.
yeah, and of course he's like, "Oh, I understand what all the big deal is about touching the breast." And
Well, first it was, which one? How was it for you? It felt like a child fondled me.
felt me up.
Yeah, there you go.
And I mean, she keeps insulting him throughout the night, throughout this whole thing. And Garrett starts getting, like, I guess this is one of his favorite games, is this Truth or Dare stuff. It's one of my least favorite games in the universe, but he's going, hey, why is nobody including me? Because he's starting to get sort of jealous with this whole thing, and Garrett's starting to get cold feet and then Garrett sort of storms off, if I remember right. He storms off, and Luke follows him, and Ashley realizes that there is a flashlight behind her, so she grabs the flashlight with her mouth and drops it down to her hand and starts flashing it like an SOS.
Into the neighbor's window.
Into the neighbor's window. Luke comes back. She drops the flashlight. And we find out that the neighbors are in Florida. So.
Yep.
And.
Freaking neighbors hating the snow. What's wrong with them?
And then Luke goes on about.
Part of the Truth or Dare was Garrett found out that his hamster didn't die of natural causes. That Luke killed his hamster.
Yeah. And that supposedly Luke tried to Ashley when it happened.
But it wasn't an accident.
But it wasn't an accident. And.
Yeah, you found that out.
Yeah.
Anyway, Ricky, Ashley's boyfriend, comes over. He muscles his way in the front door.
Well, you jumped a whole couple of steps there.
Okay, sorry about that.
Yes. So Luke has this eyedropper full of stuff, and he says basically, I think it's like liquid roofies. I'm not quite. They never explain what it is. It's just liquid whatever. And he's trying to pressure her to drink this liquid roofie stuff, or this, as he says, you will wake up, you won't remember anything, into an entire into a bottle of tequila. And he's trying to push off that she was drunk, and she's celebrating, and she got drunk, and that's what happened. So with the champagne and the tequila, and again, this sort of irritated me a little bit. For the pure fact, if you have one thing, don't put all that into something that can either break or be spilt. And then another thing is you should have forced her to drink it, instead of trying to be like drink it. You should be
shoved a tube down her throat?
Yeah.
They would have seen the scar tissue and the damage.
Well, or just, like how we had to do with Luna to get her to take her pill. Prop the jaw open with your fingers and...
She would have bit him.
Well, if you could hit the right part of the jaw. We don't know how strong her jaw is. I mean, that jaw is much tougher than a human jaw. But my point is...
They're smart, they're stupid. Well, that's the way it goes.
Well, but my point is, I mean, you don't put your insurance into one thing. That was my point. That's what irritated me.
Well, that's why he said at the end, she said at the end, you never intended to let me go.
Yeah.
He didn't.
No. So, he does that, and then we have, that she obviously smashes the tequila on the floor because he basically drops it, and...
She pushes it out of his hand.
Yeah. The door rings, and Ashley's boyfriend, Ricky, comes and wants to give Ashley flowers. And so he's like, just slip him through the door. I'll open the door, he can slip him through. Of course, Ricky's much bigger than he is, and barges his way in and finds Ashley tied up.
Not after they beat the crap out of him.
Huh?
After they beat the crap out of him.
Yeah.
Like, hit him in the head with a baseball bat and stab him in the face with the daggum pencil and...
Then hit him again in the head with the baseball bat.
Threatened to shoot him with the daggum shotgun and smack him upside the head again with the baseball bat and then drag him downstairs and get blood all over the place. And then they tie him up.
No, but I was saying he realized Ashley was there tied up, was trying to figure out what the hell, and then they got into the scuffle.
No. He was upstairs looking for her.
Oh.
They got into the scuffle. Then he realized she was tied up when they tied him up downstairs.
Okay. So I got things out of order. But, so you try to strangle Lucas, and then Lucas shoves the pencil through his mouth.
Yeah.
Like his cheek, and it punctured his cheek.
Mm-hmm.
And because he tried to hit him with a baseball bat, but it did knock him out.
Yeah. And then when he tried to hit him again, he blocked it and took the bat away from him.
Yeah.
And then he was like, crap, what do I do?
Yeah.
And then he grabbed the pencil that was underneath his bedroom rug, underneath the rug in the hall that his mom kept there to know if he was getting up.
Again, that whole... The
pencil saved him.
Yeah, and then, and then Garrett comes up with a shotgun that he was using and threatens to shoot him, and then until Garrett's shock, Luke hits him in the back of the head again with the baseball bat and knocks him out. Then he's tied up.
He was like lining it up in the pitch.
Yeah.
And he was down. Drug him down the stairs.
Mm-hmm. So
that dude was bigger than both them put together.
Yeah. But it doesn't matter if you're knocked out.
Yeah, then you're just dead weight.
And then this is when things start getting really nutty. So, you want to go from there? Or let me continue on from my notes.
Ashley takes advantage of the scuffling and everything. She falls over in her chair and grabs a piece of the broken glass from the bottle. When the boys come back in the room, they straighten her up in her chair and they tie Ricky up in another chair, tape him to the chair. They have them both duct taped to the chair. Luke also invites over Ashley's ex, or rather, he tries to force Ashley to invite him, but she refuses to. The first call is unsuccessful.
Well, let's admit it. This guy is not the brightest tool in the crown box. I mean, he is just...
So he calls back again. Jeremy recites the address from memory and says, tell her to stay there. I will be right over. Luke looks at Ricky and Ashley, takes the tape off their mouths. Ashley tells him he's making a big mistake. Ricky had mumbled something. Luke puts the handgun up to his eye. It actually touches his eyelid. He tells him, "Now repeat exactly what you had said before." He says, "I need the bathroom," as he urinates on the floor.
I have to admit, I find this hilarious because just the reaction and the language used, because he pisses himself. And Luke freaks out and calls him a mongrel. The last time I heard somebody use the term mongrel was?
Luke is disgusted as he puts on rubber gloves and he proceeds to clean the urine from the floor. And he calls Ricky a mongrel. "You're a mongrel!" But this is a much needed distraction as Ashley is using the piece of glass to cut the tape around her wrist.
Which in turn, she's also cutting herself.
Right. She is bleeding onto the floor and is trying to cover the blood with her foot, her socked foot. So far, only Ricky has noticed. Luke takes the bag of dirty rags outside. Ashley takes advantage of this and works on cutting herself loose. Luke comes back inside and finds Garrett smoking weed in the house, and he freaks out.
Yeah.
Luke threatens Ricky and makes him smoke weed also.
Which surprisingly, this guy doesn't touch. Supposedly.
Ricky gets... Yeah. Now Ricky gets killed, Home Alone style.
No, okay, so they put the doobie in Ricky's mouth and force him to smoke it, and then they realize that the smoke was coming out of the hole
In his cheek, yeah.
in his cheek. And so Luke, in his gentle way of being such a compassionate human being, puts his hands over the nose and mouth, and then forces the basically the THC to seep into his system faster. Mm-hmm. That was the idea, because the weed had to be in there, mm-hmm. And which it really wasn't that much, to be honest. It really wouldn't. I don't think it would trigger much, and if anything, mm-hmm. just a puff or two. And then he drags him to underneath the stairwell. And Garrett's there going like, "Dude, I don't understand what's going on."
They had this debate since the very beginning of the film.
But the thing is like Garrett's starting to have a change of heart at this point. Mm-hmm. He's actually saying like, "Oh shit, this stuff's getting real." Yeah. And I got to do something about it. But he's still like numb to what is going on. So Garrett and Lucas had a discussion about the more infamous part of Home Alone, and that is the
paint can.
The paint can, and if the paint can would actually throw back the person.
Yeah, the intruder, or if it would smash their head in. So that's been a huge discussion that they have had, a debate rather, and
so is it time to test it out?
Yeah, they're like, we're gonna put this. Luke said, we're gonna put this discussion to test. We're going to finally figure out what it's going to do. And Garrett was like, "Don't do this, man. Don't do this."
And so he throws the paint can once, and it misses both of them.
It swings right by Ricky's head, and Ricky's like, "What are you doing?"
And then he readjusts and realigns and chucks the paint can over, and
Ricky turns to a wiener.
Yeah, we find... No, it doesn't show any gore or anything like that. Nope. But he obviously doesn't get knocked back. Nope. And I guess his head explodes.
That's what it says.
Because all we see is yellow paint.
And red.
And I actually really like this, that the yellow paint like splattered like wings, like, and then you just see red, like blood just mixed with the yellow paint. Mm-hmm. But up to this point, Luke was freaking out about everything. My mom just replaced the carpets because his mom, freaked out about people going onto the carpet. Don't do this. They'll know. But the whole paint can thing, he was fine with. And if you want to talk about something that's hard to get up, it's bloody house paint.
At this point, I guess he figured people are being killed in this house. We're going to end up moving anyway, so
yeah.
Well. Ashley makes a run for it, but Luke finds her and brings her back. He not only does that, he ties her up with duct tape and Christmas lights.
Well, okay, but
makes her sit in the house while he listens to carolers out his front window door.
He doesn't actually chase her down. Garrett does.
Yes, but Garrett hit her. He has to get her.
Yeah. Okay, so
Garrett trips, and then he has to go get her.
Yeah, and they both got shot by the crossbow in the back, and
it wasn't a crossbow; it was a paint gun.
A paint gun, and then, but he threw that brick to knock out Ashley when she got over the fence.
Luke did.
Yeah, Luke threw the brick at Ashley and knocked her out. Again, how's this chick still alive at this point? I don't understand. And then he's giving the carolers hot chocolate and enjoying Christmas carols, as he has a lovely warm woman. So he tells her
the carolers are gone and the next door neighbors are in Florida. He strokes her head. He asked her if she likes it. She nods and he moves closer. So she kicks him in the groin.
Because he tried to kiss her on the forehead.
Well, he gets closer to her. Yeah. They plan to deal with Jeremy and make a post on Ashley's social media saying, "Why can't exes just stay away?"
Yeah.
Luke meets Jeremy in the backyard, tells him Ashley wants a written apology, and gets him to write it down. He walks away for a moment. He waits till he's done writing, and he hangs him.
Yes, he uses a riding lawnmower and strings him up by the neck on the tree. And then we see the letter saying, "Dear Ashley, I'm sorry for everything. Love, Jeremy," or something like that.
Then the note is left by the body. Mm-hmm. Garrett is trying to free Ashley when Luke comes back in. He tells her he's sorry and kisses her on the cheek. Luke shoots him with the shotgun in the shoulder. Garrett and Ashley freak out. Garrett says, "I'm dying and I want my mom." Luke shoots him again,
finishing off Garrett.
Luke says, "It's okay. He was starting to get on my nerves anyway." Ashley says, "I thought he was your best friend." Ashley tells Luke, You never intended on letting me go, did you?" He says, "Guilty." They talk about when he was little, how his mom would cuddle with him when she would tuck him in, and he never wanted to let her go. Now she doesn't do that anymore. She says she knows why, but refused to tell him. He says, "Tell me I'm messed up. Tell me I'm sick." Then
he basically wants to be degraded at this point.
Yeah. Then he slowly stabs her into the neck with a small pocket knife. Then kisses her on the top of the head. He goes and puts Jeremy's fingerprints in the paint, on the pocket knife, and on the shotgun, and plants the weapons.
As he's dancing to, like, Christmas rock, yeah.
He gets ready for bed and cleans up what is needed and remembers about Ricky's hole in his cheek. He sticks in a number 2 pencil, gets it nice and bloody, and then drops it right in the middle of the pile of paint and blood. Then okay, there we go. He tries to position the pencil in the door, on top of the door handle, and go into his room, but it just falls. So he has to position it when he's on the outside of the door and climb in through another window and back into his bedroom window. Well, he, I guess, has some kind of tracking device in his parents' car, so he knows that they're close to being home.
Well, I mean, he was timing this entire thing by that tracking device.
Mm-hmm. So, he almost knocks all of the ornaments on top of the roof off.
Well, okay, but the thing is they're just sort of sitting on there.
I would have thought that they would be
like bolted
or something.
Yeah, bolted to it. Yeah, they're just.
Well, you wouldn't be able to bolt it, but you could nail it.
You know what I'm saying? Bolted. I'm just saying somehow.
Because a little bit of gust of wind would knock them over.
Yeah, because they're just those like. What are those? They're like
metal framed ornaments.
I didn't even think they were metal framed. I was thinking like that. Like vines.
Mm-hmm.
Those vine ones you see like at Hobby Lobby. They're just sort of sitting on top of that with a Santa.
Yeah.
And he trips over
He barely got in his room on time. Yeah. He takes his sleeping pill. He gets in the bed. He turns the sound machine on. And then the next thing he hears is his mother screaming. She comes in to check on him. He's fine. Some time passes and he hears there's a survivor.
Mm-hmm.
Ashley survives. She put duct tape on her wound on her neck to stifle and slow the bleeding, to stem the bleeding. The movie ends with Luke telling his mother he wants to go to the hospital to check on Ashley.
Yeah. So that was after some credits. So, yeah. So that's one of those like movies you have to wait a little bit on the credits or you won't catch that scene.
Yeah, it's after maybe 45 seconds of the credits run. Yeah. It's not too far.
And then.
So what do you rate this film?
I actually rate it pretty high. I rate it as a 5 out of 5. Now, I mean, I have my own issues with it, but overall I think it's one of those. The main reason why I think it really shows how manipulative.
You gave it a perfect score.
I gave it a perfect score.
I gave it a 4 out of 5.
And the reason
just because some of the details are just a little rough around
the
edges,
I mean,
but other than that,
I'm saying, but I was more looking at like the portrayal of, like
the storyline is
serial.
really good.
I was more thinking of the portrayal of serial killer. You know how like manipulative they can be and stuff like that. I think this is a true. More or less, if you look at the psychosis and how, if you research any sort of serial killer,
psychopaths,
yeah, how like this sort of reminds me, this guy could turn into a Ted Bundy or whatever. You would never know that he or a PDK, a BDK, or whatever. You would never know that that's what these people are until they get caught. And I mean, everything he played down to the wire. Anyway, so yes, I gave it a perfect score because I really think it shows, how somebody how these type of people function. They don't actually have friends. They actually don't. He's planned everything. So, we see that he betrayed his friend. He betrayed the woman supposedly he loved because cheating.
He's a psychopath.
Yeah, he's a psychopath. And I think that was the most true interpretation in a movie that I've ever seen of a psychopath. So I give that, just that alone made it, to me, a higher quality film than, let's say, other films where they've completely misinterpret psychopaths and stuff like that. But, I did have some of my own issues. I would think that a family that wealthy and that concerned would have cameras instead of, like, a pencil. You know, like hidden cameras and stuff. That's the only sort of other things that sort of bothered me. And
It was isolated incidences of him sleepwalking.
yeah, but if I mean, she just seems so. They just seem so concerned with him all the time that they would have some. I would. That's what I'm trying to say. I just. They would seem to be those type of people to have at least, you know, like a nanny cam or whatever.
They were concerned with him, but not paranoid.
I guess.
That's paranoia. There's a difference between concern and
I know.
paranoia.
I know. I was just saying that.
Maybe they should have been paranoid, but
Yeah.
even if they had nanny cams, he would have found out about it.
Yeah.
And he would have figured a way around it because he's the one to be worried about, not anybody else.
So what? Other than that, I mean, oh yeah, and the first time, I mean, it's a good movie. The second time around, though, you know everything, but it's interesting to see how you sort of plotted it all out.
Yeah.
But this is really a one-time watch.
It is good, though.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and yours?
What?
What was your shooting a boodle?
It was a little rough around the edges with some details, but that was it.
Like what?
Like, unfortunately, I didn't write any of them down. And my brain is tired now, so it's difficult to remember them. It's just, I don't think certain things could have happened. Like, I don't think you could have hung him with the riding mower, and I mean, some of the details I don't think could have happened, but it's a movie. I mean, that's the way it is, but...
Well, I mean, that was a pretty heavy-duty riding / tractor lawnmower, though.
Yeah, but how it showed his feet on the ground, the
Yeah.
dirt was loose.
Okay, I could see that. I mean, that's definitely a concern. I mean, yeah.
So, I don't know. And they're shooting off that shotgun and it doesn't alarm anybody.
Yeah.
It's a suburban area. They're shooting off a shotgun
It seemed like
and it doesn't alarm anybody.
It seemed like the whole, like, that house was in, like, a cul-de-sac. You think something would, you know,
It's
either
not like
the
they're in the
screen...
country.
Yeah.
He shoots off a shotgun twice and it doesn't alarm anybody.
Well, and then the radio was a little loud. Stuff like that.
I mean, it's during the holidays. If a radio is loud, I don't think it's going to really alarm anybody. But shooting off a shotgun in a house?
All I'm saying, though, there is going to be that one lady that always bitches about your stuff is too loud. That's all I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, it was probably their neighbor that was in Florida.
Yeah.
But nobody's going to be alarmed by a shotgun going off in a house twice. I mean,
Yeah.
shotguns are loud. They're loud.
Mm-hmm.
And the more confined space you shoot them off in, the louder they echo.
Well, I think the
They're
other
loud.
thing that sort of irritated me was just the statement of a good parent will separate the gun and the ammo. But to me, that's like, why would you do something like that? A gun is supposed to just... I mean, the only reason why you would keep a gun beside yourself is in case of home intruders. Why would you separate the ammo?
Scare the intruder away with the gun to think...
I know, but I mean, that's just the only thing that sort of irritated me, because to me it's just like, you wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that.
The clip was in the gun, but it was empty.
Yeah, but I mean, his thing was when she tried to shoot him with the gun was like, a good parent separates the ammo from the gun. Okay, well, but the whole point of having a gun beside your bed is the fear of intruders. So having the ammo separate from yourself. So now you have to go searching for ammo.
Hold on a minute. I know you're trying to rob and kill me, but I need to go find my bullets.
Yeah. So
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Some of the details are a little hairy.
No. But I can see these type of people who've never had sort of like any home intrusion type. You know, they just do it for the peace of mind, but it's never going to happen type thing because we live in a good neighborhood. You know, it's not like a legitimate fear. They do it. You know, so it's just there. So that to them, that's fine. They probably don't even like guns. It's just there for because he was like, well, we need it for fear. I mean, just just in case. But, or, he just seems like...
No, if your mother's home alone, I don't walk in her bedroom without saying who I am.
No, but we live in a different area.
No.
But we live in a different area.
I don't think it would matter what area she lives in. I know she keeps a gun under her pillow when she sleeps.
No, not under her pillow. Beside her bed. Why would you put it underneath your pillow? But...
Well, I know it's beside her.
Yeah.
And I know she's going to point it at me if I go to walk in her room.
And it's loaded, and
it's... And it's loaded.
Yeah, it's loaded and ready. But that's how a gun is supposed to be if you're worried about self-protection. That's what I'm trying to point out. So that's one thing. But we live in the South where we live around guns.
I wouldn't have to worry about her shooting me first. She'd shoot Luna first because Luna would jump on the bed. She would know it's her. Wouldn't have to worry about getting shot.
But she'll see the white. So, but I mean, we live around
guns. Bear!
Yeah, like that one time you swore that they were being invaded by a bear because of the Luna.
I was having a nightmare. Just going at me with that mouth. I'm like, it's a bear
in my apartment in the middle of a small town. It's a polar bear in the South.
It's a Luna bear.
Yep.
Oh goodness! I have crazy dreams anyway. Big white dog in my face.
But overall, I think this is a good holiday horror movie.
No bears. There's no bears.
No bears. But I think it's a good holiday horror movie. I mean, it's not cheesy or anything. I think it's pretty...
It's romantic if you like people to try to kill you to turn you on.
Yeah. Well, this is definitely not how to romance somebody.
This is what not to do.
Yeah, this is...
if you want a guide, this is what not to do. Don't try to kill someone to tell them that you like them. Don't do this.
But really, is it really like or love, or is it just lust, or is it just control at that point with him?
Fascination.
I think it's more control. He just wanted to control her. So...
It's definitely what not to do.
Yeah. He's going to be forever alone.
No, she's still alive.
Well, no, I'm pretty sure he went to the hospital because his mother does whatever, and they will find possibly find somehow air got into her veins.
They wouldn't find that out.
Exactly.
It's almost impossible.
Exactly. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure that's what he would do is put, inject air into the IV.
If he was smart.
He seems like he would know what to do.
Just because you're smart about some things doesn't mean you're smart about other things.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying
What would you do? Google how to kill somebody in the hospital? I mean, really?
No, just watch CSI for like 3 seasons and figure it out.
Wow.
Or how, you don't even have to Google how to do it. You could Google like nurses that have killed and how they've done it.
But they have access to medications.
But some of them killed by, like, once the red flags have gone up several times, they will still be nurses, but red flags would go, so they would have limited amount access to, where things would change during their years, where they couldn't get the medication, so they came up with other ways to kill. But there were several nurses known as Angels of Death who would kill the elderly. That would do that. They would, instead of medication, because, like, if the regulated...
This is going in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I know.
I think we need to... Boop, boop, boop. We need to end this. This is going in the wrong direction. This is a whole different discussion here. Why do we do this? This is your fault.
What? Poke pencils at the table?
No. Going in a different direction.
Well, we ended the movie, and I was just...
Has nothing to do with what we were talking about.
It does, though.
In a roundabout sort of way, but it doesn't.
Well, we could speculate how the movie would end after tying up loose ends.
Okay, well, we'll scare you guys later.
Yeah, bye.